July 14, 1945. The Georgia heat wrapped around Fort Marimont like a heavy blanket as corporal. Daniel Harper scanned the women's compound from beneath the brim of his cap. He was 29, a black American guard from Detroit, serving in one of the military's segregated police battalions. His job was to supervise 180 German women who had been captured in the final collapse of the Reich. Nurses, radio operators, clerks. Women raised to believe they were the master race now guarded by a man who couldn't eat in half restaurants in his own country. Irony didn't bother him anymore. War twisted everything. Across the yard, two women knelt in the dust beside a row of vegetables. One was Anna Weiss, 24, sharp-featured blonde, once a secretary in Munich. The older woman beside her, 31-year-old Ruth Heller, had served as a Red Cross nurse on the Western Front. Ruth glanced toward Harper as he passed. Anna immediately looked away. They didn't fear him now, not the way they had when they first arrived, but distance still remained. Propaganda didn't die easily. Harper paused by the gate. Tomorrow, he would deliver news that would turn this camp upside down. News he knew they would never expect. Lieutenant Carter, the officer in charge, had told him an hour earlier. The War Department was changing classifications. Most of these women were no longer considered POWs. They were being reclassified as civilian internees, and that meant something extraordinary. They would no longer be confined to the compound. They could work in town, walk freely during the day, live almost like locals until ships were available to send them home. "You're telling me they can just walk out?" Harper asked. "That's the order," Carter said. "They're free to go." But he knew these women understood almost nothing about America, especially the black part of it. The next morning, they gathered in the recreation hall, rows of wooden chairs, the air thick with curiosity and heat. Anna and Ruth sat front and center, their posture straight, their faces tense. Lieutenant Carter cleared his throat. "As of today," he said, "you are no longer prisoners of war. You are free to leave the secured area during the day. You may seek temporary work in town until transportation back to Germany is available." For a moment, the room went silent. Then a wave of murmurs spread. Shock, confusion, fear. Free. Free to walk through the town of Marimont? Free among Americans? Free among people they were taught to fear or despise? Anna swallowed hard, whispering, "They want us in town?" Among civilians? "Why?" Ruth answered softly. "I don't think it is a trick. They have no reason to lie." Later, Harper approached them. "If you have questions," he said calmly, "ask." Anna hesitated before speaking. "Why are you releasing us, Corporal? What do Americans expect from us now?" "Nothing," Harper replied. "You can leave during the day, or you can stay in camp if you're more comfortable. It's your choice." Ruth frowned. "In the town, will they accept us?" Harper exhaled slowly. "Some will. Some won't. That's the honest truth." The next morning, only 5 women approached the gate to sign out. Their hands trembled as Harper handed them the clipboard. They walked down the dusty road toward town, escorted partway by 2 guards who eventually turned back. By evening, stories spread through the camp like wildfire. A shopkeeper had slammed the door on them. A man on the street had shouted at them. The 2 women found work. A bakery needed hands. A laundry needed help. One woman even returned smiling after a child in town asked her to teach him a German word. Day by day, more followed. 10, then 15, then almost 30. Some were met with anger, some with surprising kindness. All returned to camp each night wiser than before, but Anna would not go, not yet. She watched the others leave, watched them return, and said nothing. A week passed before Lieutenant Carter called her to his office. Harper stood beside the desk. "Miss Weiss," Carter said, "the town clerk's office has temporary work available. Filing, sorting, record-keeping. Your skills match what they need." Anna blinked, genuinely startled. "Want me to work there?" "We're informing you of an opportunity," Carter replied. "That's all." Anna turned to Harper. "Why would you help me? Why would you help any of us?" Harper's expression didn't change. "Because the war is over, and because not helping you would make me no better than what you believed about me." The next morning, Anna finally stepped toward the gate. She wore the cleanest dress she owned, her hair braided tightly. "I would like to sign out," she said quietly. Harper handed her the clipboard. "Be back by 8. I'll walk with you to the edge of town." She started toward the road. He walked a few paces beside her. "You don't have to escort me," she said. "I don't," Harper agreed. "But the first trip's easier when someone walks with you." "Thank you," she murmured. "It's my job," he replied, but she knew it was more than that. Her first day in town was a collision of emotions: suspicion, coldness, the occasional hostile stare, but also respect, work, a small kindness here and there, a nod, simple good morning. When she returned at dusk, Harper was waiting, hands folded behind his back. She approached him with dust on her shoes and a strange, tired smile on her face. "They asked me to return tomorrow," she said. "You going too?" "Yes," she answered. "I think I will." Days turned into weeks. Anna worked in the clerk's office. Ruth cleaned at the local hospital. Others found work at the textile mill, the laundry, the cannery. They pooled their small wages and bought luxuries they hadn't seen in years: real coffee, fresh peaches, combs, magazines. Women who once clung to propaganda now practiced English in the evenings, wrote letters home, and talked of rebuilding Germany with skills they learned in America. Then came August 12th. Lieutenant Carter gathered them again. "The first ships home will arrive in 3 weeks," he announced. "Those selected will leave soon." The room didn't explode in celebration. Instead, a heavy silence. Some women looked relieved, others looked heartbroken. That evening, Anna found Harper walking along the perimeter road. "Corporal," she said softly, "if we are free to go home, why do I feel afraid to leave?" Harper watched the sunset over the Georgia hills. "Maybe because this place didn't turn out to be what you expected, or because you didn't," she answered quietly. For the first time, he looked genuinely moved. "Miss Weiss, Anna?" she said gently. He nodded. "Anna," she sighed. "When we arrived, I couldn't imagine speaking to a black soldier. Couldn't imagine trusting one. But here I am. I don't want to go back to the person I was. I don't want to forget what I learned here." Harper's voice was low and steady. "Then don't." 3 days later, the first group boarded trucks for the harbor. Ruth was among them. Anna stayed behind, one of many who requested temporary extensions to continue working in town. When the trucks left, Anna stood at the gate, gripping her work permit. Harper stood beside her. She begged to stay. Carter remarked later, a lot of them did, because they had discovered something unexpected. Freedom wasn't just walking out of a camp. It was walking out of the beliefs that once imprisoned them. Anna eventually returned to Germany months later, but she took with her a lesson she would teach her children and grandchildren. The guards they feared most, the ones their country taught them to hate, were the people who treated them with the most dignity. And sometimes, when the war ends, the real transformation finally begins. If this story surprised you or moved you, click subscribe and tell me where you're watching from. More untold World War II stories are on their way.